Hey folks, welcome back to this edition of Ben's Bits. We're continuing our series from last week's video about income versus growth and how it affects investing for what matters to you. Today, we're going to be covering the differences between a quick fix and a right fit as it concerns your portfolio and its needs. So, as we continue to think through this, you'll want to remember that this is through the lens of staying within the context of investing for what matters most to you. So this will be subjective to some of you, depending on where you are in your investing journey, but it will affect all of us. So the major takeaway from this thought process is to really start thinking about being tactical in what you're doing within your portfolio and start to think along the lines of how does this affect the short-term and the long-term health of the portfolio overall. What we mean by this is if you're looking at adding an asset to your portfolio, what's its intended purpose? Is it because you just need to deploy capital? Is it because you're up against a deadline? Is it a quick fix, if you will? Or are you adding the asset based on the fact that it's a right fit for the portfolio, which will benefit the short-term and the long-term aspects? For instance, I was talking to an investor a few days ago, and he was contemplating the idea of taking funds that came back in from an investment and redeploying that capital into a rehab. Now, remember, before we go too far, those of you who watch this regularly know that we are not against rehabs or rentals or the traditional investments per se. It just all depends on what's best for what you're wanting to accomplish and how it fits into your goals. But he wanted to grow his portfolio as fast as he could because he was late to the game, preparing for retirement. He'd done a few rehabs in the past, and as we spoke, he started to think and really rethink his strategy and how he's seriously considering deploying his resources into a non-performing note now that we're going to help him with because by being tactical and purposeful with the investment goals, now he's most likely going to net more with less work and with less headaches, which is what he really wants. The point of his story is that he was going for a quick fix under the guise of redeploying capital. Now he's investing in an asset that's more conducive to his portfolio and a better fit for what the investment goals are. Remember, his particular goals were more centered around the needs of preparing for retirement, and having funds to make it through that life cycle. Also leaving something for his kids, but mainly making it through in the first place. So be sure as you go about thinking what your needs are, think whether you're making the investment based on a quick fix or the right fit, because it's going to affect your portfolio, both in the short term and in the long term. So that's it for this edition of Ben's Bits. Join us next week as we continue this concept and dive further into owning a portfolio versus owning a business. It's going to be fun and how it could affect your portfolio overall. So we'll see you next time.